Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you are the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, speak and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children.
Yep.
The content within this video is intended for
All right,
mature
I gotta
audiences
jump
only.
on, man. Yeah. All right, I'm live, man. I gotta go. Hop on. All right, see you. What's up, guys? Sorry about that. I was on the phone with Mr. Glenn Lawrence, working out the details of our new of my new venture, or not new venture, but the thing that we're gonna do with the thing that you guys know about. What's up, Kevin? What's up, Fredo? What's up, Twizzard? I'm not sure I've seen Twizzard in here before, but welcome. Maybe you just haven't said anything. Welcome, Lindsay Smith. Good to see you back. Welcome to everybody that's made it on this glorious Saturday evening. If you've, we'll get into the topic here shortly. I'm just going to quickly talk a little bit about some of the cool stuff that's been happening. Yeah, Glenn's actually feeling pretty good. He was talking my ear off about the project that I've got upcoming, and we're really excited about it. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be really good. So can't wait to iron this out. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of heavy lifting, but we're going to make it happen. So it's going to be good. So very good. If you didn't catch it today, Anson Knowles and Chris Lestrange had a great discussion around creationism and some other things. Is really, really good. If you didn't see it, I'm sure it's up somewhere. I'm not really sure where, but it was a great. Honestly, it was a good thing to listen to. Really mind stimulating. I like things like that. The topic of the night. I'm sure I'll have to explain this a couple more times as people come in, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's something big going on tonight that I'm not aware of, and I normally come on a little earlier, but we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. The topic of tonight is, the armor that we wear in relationships. Welcome, Shane Herbert. I see you there, or Barrett. I see you there. And this goes to, and actually, I'm really hoping Arthur Daya pops in really soon, because a lot of this is stuff that she talks about a lot, and I really wanted to not be dismissive of, but I really want to make sure that we talk about it in such a way that it is both reasonable and or not reasonable, that's a bad word, that it's both clear and concise, and in such a manner that is easily understood, and therefore very easy to talk about amongst ourselves. And we're going to get into that here shortly. Glenn will be on later. He is working right now. He's back to work. He's editing clips and things like that. So that's going to be really cool to see him back at work and getting things done again. And it's just been a great day, guys. Been a good, relaxing day. Looking forward to having some relaxing moments tomorrow. Looking forward to just having a couple of days where I'm not really doing anything. So it looks like that. It looks like the girl that I tried to help, Ava the G, is she's doing I guess whatever prep over on her stream. I'm gonna try and be cool about this, and not go too far into it. But I didn't really appreciate some of the things that she and her chat have alluded to and or said, and which is it's just low tier stuff. So who cares? It's fine. But maybe she'll do good on whatever, or maybe she'll get smoked into the dirt by Andrew. So we'll see. Angel Berber, welcome, sir. It's going to be a great night tonight. It's going to be great. You guys, it's going to be interesting just because it's going to be interesting. That's all it is. It's just going to be interesting. Been a hell of a day today, though. Been very good. Yeah, Glenn's in a teared up mood. I think Glenn is ignoring his painkillers, and that makes him testy. That's what I think. I think he's hurting just enough to be testy. But don't worry, Glenn. You and I, we've got ammunition. Don't you worry. All right, guys. What else is new out there? Glenn, go ahead and pop in, brother. Let's we'll start into this armor discussion. The armor that we wear in relationships. Before I dive into it, does anyone in the chat want to hazard a guess at what type of armor that we as humans choose to wear in relationships? What do you guys think that I mean by that? What do you guys think that you've done in that environment, so on and so forth. So, yeah, good stuff. And as the count continues to increase, we keep getting people, more and more people coming in and on. It's a good thing. I like it. I like to see it. But yeah, I want to really have a good. We're gonna have a good stream tonight. We're going to have a great time. We're going to talk about this. We'll go ahead and just launch into this. Glenn can join when he gets here. I think Kat's overdoing a stream with Teriak and Damon, which I think, with her husband, which I think she likes to do, and certainly she can do that. That's no problem. And I'm hope she has a lot of fun doing that. Welcome, Damien, our local parkour guy. Welcome, Cheryl. Good to see you again. And Raging Patriot is out there dropping links like it's his job. Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. So it occurred to me in talking the last few shows with especially with Arthur Daya, but other young ladies as well, that there seems to be this idea that women need to have a backup plan. They need to wear armor to protect themselves against a man leaving them, against a man, or them having to leave the man being abusive or whatever in a relationship. And I've always thought that to be a very interesting observation or perspective, because if you're planning to fail, you plan for contingencies, but you plan for success, right? Planning to fail is basically failing the plan. And so I've always wondered about this. Yes, and Clover Tack is correct. If you're focused on the backup plan, if on the way out, if you're looking at the, if you are concentrating much at all on your way out, you fucked up from the beginning. Welcome, John Smith. Welcome, Clover Tack. Welcome, everybody that's coming in. It's going to be a good show tonight. We're going to rant a little bit. I haven't sent anybody but Glenn the link yet. I didn't see Mr. Boulay come in. He may be taking the night off. I will, if somebody wants to come up and join on screen after my monologue, certainly welcome to do that. I'll get you guys a link. So welcome, Raynor. How are you doing? How you doing, buddy? Good. Glad we're all here. We'll continue forward. So I really thought a lot about this backup plan idea, right? Like this whole idea that that you need a backup plan, that you need this golden parachute, that you need to have your own, that women need to have their own money, or men need to have a backup to the backup. And it's kind of bugged me a little bit, because I didn't have a direct answer for it when I started out. I really didn't. I was like, well, man, I don't really know. I mean, it does seem somewhat reasonable. And I really wish Arthur Daya was in the chat. It's really bugging me that she's not here, because I'm going to end up having to repeat myself several times, and I really don't like doing that. But she's not here, so suck it up, and we'll drive on. So I'm of the opinion, and my observation is that women who go through life and putting together their backup plan in place ahead of and lending more importance to the idea of their backup plan being in place, and making that more important than, say, actually choosing the proper man, putting time into the relationship so that you don't have that issue. That's worse. for some reason, this screen, I changed monitors the other day, and this screen reflects more of my glasses, and it really bugs me. It probably doesn't bug you guys, but it bugs the crap out of me.
It bugs me too. Just don't look.
It bugs you too?
Yeah. Just
I have the volume turned way down. Give me 1 second. Let me turn the volume up. So
your glasses reflection is bothering me, Grid. Okay, it's distracting.
it is distracting. Thank you. I'm glad that somebody else is bothered by this. It's really on my nerves, man. There's my volume up. Okay.
Like, why can't you just have like good eyes, like normal people, and not wear glasses?
I used to have excellent eyesight, and now I can't. I don't actually need them right now. I can pretty much read what's going on, but you know, then if I would need to look at my close-up screen, then I have to put them on. So this way, I just, you know, it's just one thing or the other. So anyway, the reflection is really bothering me. I'm sorry, guys. It's just a personal thing. I don't like it. So we'll just we'll leave my personal foibles out of it for the moment. You wear glasses just to look smart. It works. But actually, you know, without them, I don't think you look nearly as smart. So it's a good call on your part.
I only wear glasses to look studious.
At the end of the day, though, and this is something I've noticed that, you know, Arthur Dye talks about this a lot, and I think that it's a very common thing. I've heard it many times. I've heard it repeated on whatever. I've heard it in debates that Andrew's done about how women really need to go to college or really need to get an education or really need to build work experience so that if they get a divorce later on in life, they cannot count on the man. And so that's why they have to do it.
No, is it that, or is it that they know that 80% of them are going to get a divorce, so that they need to rely on themselves?
What ends up happening, and we see this all the time, especially in what seems like in the leftist cat lady community, where they have it seems like these women, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Glenn, you've probably seen this as well. These leftist women, they get in this mindset of, you know, career first, and they end up in their 40s with no real relationship, a bunch of failed relationships behind them, maybe a divorce or two, and no kids. And they, you know, basically go home every night to an empty apartment or a big house that's empty, right? And it's an interesting thing to me that's the model that a lot of women seem to tend towards. Jantic says there's a difference in having a backup plan and having a skill set to rely on to go back into the workforce for whatever reason. This includes a husband getting ill or dying. There is a difference. Okay, I agree with you, but this is the argument that's always used. Let me help me out here, Jantix. You seem level-headed, and Arthur Dye is not here right now.
Oh,
pick on.
You ready? I got this one.
Help me out here.
So it's like,
if you're trying to tell me, and I
for the
believe
secretary,
you,
and now I have no job, I have no skills.
If you're trying to tell me that
I've been a mother the whole time,
you need a skill set, does that mean that you need to constantly work to develop that skill set, or do you just get the skill set early, or you get married, have kids, and as you're raising the kids, you add to that skill set as you go, so that if something did happen in the future, then you could re-enter the workforce, and maybe you wouldn't be up to date on everything, and you wouldn't make super good money right out of the gate, but you could build yourself back up. I cannot hear Glenn.
You can't hear me?
Oh, there's why.
You can't hear me.
Sorry, Glenn. I can hear you now.
Keep on like talking right over me. I was trying to say things, and I was like,
sorry, buddy.
I keep on muting myself. I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to talk right now.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
With you. No, it's like they do the whole like, they need to have this because most likely he's gonna have a midlife crisis, and he's gonna, just in case he runs off with the secretary, they need to be able to provide for themselves.
Yes.
I mean, can we be a little realistic here? Who initiates divorce the most?
Correct.
It's women. Women initiate 70-80%. That does not necessarily, I'm not saying that women are wrong or that there's not any justifiable reasons that these women are filing. I'm just pointing out the obvious. They're the ones that initiate the divorce. So they are
right. I'm not trying to call anybody out.
And this career mentality is a backup to them knowing that most likely they're going to have to work because their relationships most likely are not going to work out, and they're not going to have that husband that's going to be willing to provide for them because most likely they're going to leave them.
So, and this is exactly what women say, right? And I've heard this over and over again, and and the rebuttal is that, well, men are in the workforce and therefore they always they don't need a backup plan and they don't need any of this. But the reality, but let's look at this and in my experience, what I have observed, and I'm not saying that everything goes this way, but what I have observed, tell me if your experience mirrors this, Glenn. When you'll have women that get the divorce, the judge oftentimes will give them the house, or the house gets sold and that money divided between the two, whether she worked or not. She keeps the car, or she keeps a car, right? Or again, the cars get
most
sold.
Often she keeps the newer car.
And she'll keep the newer car. And this is regardless of whether or not they have kids. We're not even talking about kids yet, right? We're
not even talking about whether or not there's fault.
Yes, we're not talking about fault. We're not talking about whether there are children involved. So a woman just gets bored, or she finds a better deal, or she thinks her husband works too much, or whatever it is, and she files for divorce. And she gets all and she goes through this. All right, look, and now let's defuse another bomb before we get too much further.
Stop defusing bombs. Let bombs go off.
No, we're not letting it. No, this is the whole purpose of this entire stream of reasoning is women keep laying out these little pipe bombs everywhere.
Kick them right back at them.
Saying that, well, what about this dough? What about that dough? And so we're diffusing those tonight. Okay. We're removing. This is the thing, is that I feel like that women wear this stuff like armor in a relationship, and that armor prevents them from being capable of actually being in the relationship, in my opinion. My observation. Okay. I seem to be missing something in chat, so let me stroll really quick.
Grid, you know what? I got an idea. Men could kind of have this armor kind of thing too, like
yes,
just in case, like women.
We're going to get into that too. I'm definitely going to get into that.
I have a good, ladies, you could keep your armor a compromise to offer them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The compromise is, since you're the one that got picked and he wifed you up, he still gets to keep the runner-up as a side piece.
As
a friend. They stay in the friend zone just in case you decide to leave. He could pull that one right off the bench and put him in the game.
We got the bench warmers. We're going to bench warmers now.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like,
No, let's not
they
derail.
make
I want to get back to my where I was
it's
going with this. All right,
it
this
is
is
just
no
as
question.
ridiculous as their idea. That's why I threw it out there. It is
Well,
just as ridiculous.
I don't necessarily think that their idea is ridiculous. What I think is that there's a reality that we don't like to face, and that reality is that when we're talking about this subject, women aren't left destitute, even if they're in an abusive relationship. Let's say they are in an abusive relationship and they have to basically flee the man and they go get a divorce. The exact same thing's going to happen. The house is going to get sold and they're going to get proceeds from that. The car, she's going to get a car out of the deal. She'll probably get a restraining order against the man. So she's not going to have to worry. And she's not going to have to worry about that. Right. So these are all these things that women put out as, I have to do this because of this. But the reality is, when we actually break it down and look at it, it's really not that way anymore. Now, I'm not going to argue. I would not argue that at one point in time, sure, these things.
Yeah, we're not in the 50s. We're not in the 70s.
Yeah, these things were
where this stuff-
necessary, and I won't argue that there have not been really fucked up decisions made by judges, and lawyers have gotten something over on women that just had no fucking clue what was coming for them. Look, I'm not going to argue against any of that. I would be a fool to do so, right?
Has that happened in the last, like, I don't know, 40 years?
I'm not even going to go there. I will just concede right away. Sure. Women have gotten fucked over. Men have gotten fucked over. This is where it is. But when we talk about this armor, women put that armor on before they even get in the relationship. Before they get married, they've made a decision to put this armor on, and I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to have my cake and eat it too, or eat my cake and have it too is the correct version of that. I'm going to eat the cake and I'm still going to have it. I want to have the marriage, but I also want to have the job. And I don't want to be told that I can't do it. And I don't want to be told that my man's going to provide for me, because what about if he doesn't though? Right.
Great. Do you mean marriage, or do you mean they get to have the wedding?
Either way.
Because I would say women want the wedding. I'm the husband that tends to come with the wedding.
Well, I don't want to get into that. That's a path that's a whole other topic. I'm just talking about women put this armor on before they're even in the relationship. They put it on the day they start college. They put this armor on in high school. Their moms give it to them. Their teachers tell them they have to have it. And they just put this armor on, and
they don't even take it off once they get into the relationship.
And they do not, and that's exactly right. They do not take it off.
They get mad if the guy has any type of armor on, right?
Now we're going to talk about we'll talk about when the men put the armor on, but we'll get to that. I promise.
No, but what I'm getting at is that they will not take their armor off even once
they never do.
The relationship.
They don't.
But
they should.
If the guy has any type of what they would consider armor, they would consider that a red flag, a problem. He's not committing. He's not really invested.
I mean, and that's that's a real thing. Is that these women put this armor on before they're even in the relationship. They generically never take it off. They might take it off for a night or two, but they never take it off. And this is the armor that they wear, and it's the armor that drags them down in the relationship, because they carry it with them everywhere and they can't get away from it. Now, let's talk about where men put the armor on. Men put the armor on when women take shots at them because they don't come home from work late, or because they don't come home from work early. They have to work late, and they're doing, they make hard choices, right? To better themselves and better their family, right? Men put armor on when they have a woman that is flirting with other men. Maybe they're not doing anything, but they're flirting with other men to make their man jealous, to stimulate that desire, right? Which women do all the fucking time. Well, that does not generally get you the result from men that you think it does. Men armor up to protect themselves at that point, right? Men go out and do battle without armor on. Clover Tack, I'll disagree with you. I think that most men go out and do battle every day in the workforce with no armor at all. They come to it.
No, they put the armor on at home because that's where they actually could get hurt the most.
Right. That's what I'm saying, right? Like when I go
your
to
enemies, your enemies
work,
ain't gonna get you. Your enemies are not gonna get nowhere near you.
Men put the armor on when they've been stabbed. Right.
Men put
when
the armor on right before they exit out of the car.
Yeah. And that's the and Josie, hang on, I saw Josie made a comment I wanted to respond to, but what is the armor? You're dumb, you need help. You're not dumb, and you don't need any help. And you know that what I'm talking about. Armor is men being stoic and quiet and not talking to women about and stopping talking to their wives about their feelings and not allowing them to be in that relationship the way they should be. The armor that men put on is men will start to do things like they will prepare a second house, or they will prepare for their retreat. The harder and the harder it gets, they will build those walls. Crazy Mama is correct. They will build walls that you have to navigate to get to them to be able to hurt them. Women start out that way. That's kind of where it's at, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. I got too many people coming after me, bro. You guys got to slow down. I can only answer questions that I see. Clover Deck, I'm speaking of lying, cheating in many ways, and working outside the home worst. Yeah, right. And that's, men often feel betrayed when their wife, who's supposed to, and I didn't feel this way. I can only go by what others have told me. So if I get this wrong, don't fucking crucify me, because I can only speak about this from what's been shared with me. So if my experiences and my observations don't align with yours, don't come at me, bro. Okay. I'm just telling you what other men have told me. Okay. This is because when they go out of their way to provide for their wife or future wife so that wife doesn't have to work, and all she talks about is going out and getting a job, that is, to a lot of men, a sense of betrayal. It's a sense of being stabbed in the back, because they're going out and the men are trying to do the best they can, and the women aren't appreciating, or they may say they're appreciating it, but their actions demonstrate that they don't necessarily appreciate it, and they're not willing to. I shouldn't say they're not willing to. That's a bad way to put it. What has been relayed to me is that the men do not feel like the women are as committed to the relationship as. I mean, the women are not as committed to the relationship as the women
to the relationship.
Are. Right.
It's like the way that they have it.
I got to put this stuff up.
It's not their way. If you don't do it their way, if it's not the way they want it, they're out.
Right.
They'll walk.
That's a solid. Yeah, that's solid, right?
They're going to walk, and you either do it the way that they like, or they're gone. And they're so used to men being, oh, no, don't leave. One, there was a fear of their assets getting taken. But the other fact is the one-itis mentality, where guys think like that's the only woman. She's the only one that that's his dream woman, or soulmate. And there's no other woman in the world that would like him. And so when guys they're emotionally overinvested in these relationships like that, and women use that card,
I don't
that's
know
the
if
trump card.
I don't know if I could say over invested, but when men,
Well,
so
no, it's
men
over
commit,
invested. It's over invested when I'm saying she is not
yeah.
nowhere near invested as he is in the relationship.
Well, men
Um,
commit and women sort of commit a lot of times.
well,
Clover Tack,
the power of relationship, right? Is whoever needs the relationship the least tends to be the one with all the leverage.
that's true. Clover Tack, to be honest with myself, I have enough foresight in life that is obvious that you armor up before you need it. Yeah. So again, I'm not speaking about my own personal experience. Okay. I had to kind of research this, to be honest
I
with
can
you.
talk about personal experience if you guys want that. I mean,
We'll get there in a minute. Let me give you my point of view. I had to kind of research this out. I had to talk to some of my friends. I had to actually go back and call people that I know have been fucked over and say, "Hey, did you see this coming?" I talked to some other people, and I really thought about some of the people that I've worked with over the years and their relationships, because Arthur Daya constantly comes at me about this. I have to protect myself because the man may leave me. But I kept thinking about it. I'm like, most men don't leave women. They don't. They're in it to win it. They're staying there. It's more or less. I didn't and this purely anecdotal. I know far more women that have divorced men than I do women who have who have divorced women just because they just didn't want to be with them anymore.
again,
I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
initiate divorce.
Right. Yeah, I
70,
understand all the
80% of
stats.
the
I'm just saying
time.
that
So
it's not
well,
just anecdotal, right? Yeah. I
no,
get
it's
it.
what I'm saying. It's not even just anecdotal. There's data to support that. So guys would stay married,
Yeah.
even if they were separated in hopes. Typically, guys would stay separated and not file for divorce in hopes for reconciliation. You know,
Sure.
I know many guys that have gone 20 years that they were separated for 20 years and waited 20 years to finally file for divorce.
Right.
And they were like, okay, God, I feel peace now for divorce. You didn't give me this peace prior to this. I'm now having peace about it. I'm going to file. And my dad was one of them. Like his last wife, he was married to her 20 years and they only were together, like living together, for maybe 5. And the other 15 years, he stayed faithful. He stayed loyal. He helped her out whenever she needed. He provided for her financially, even though she wasn't a wife, to the point where he's like, okay, 20 years, that he's that 20-year mark. And he's like, okay, God, I'm good. I'm ready to put this down now. And he did. And he's just one out of, I could say, 10 guys that I know from his generation that did that. Guys don't want a divorce. Women do.
See, I can't speak to that. I mean, I know. I mean, I've known a couple of piece of shit dudes that divorced their wives for stupid ass reasons, right?
Oh yeah, we all do. We all know at least a handful, right?
Yeah. I just had to go through it because again, this is something that Arthur Daya, and I wish she was on because I really wanted her to be a part of this conversation. She's just not here, as I can't. I'm not going to wait, but it's just something that's said so many times in so many places that a woman has to wear this armor of being able to go back into the workforce, to protect herself, to do all of these things. And I see it as having one foot out the door. Right. And actually somebody earlier, I fleetingly saw that, armor is for combat. If you look at your relationship as combat, it's doomed. I don't know if I agree with that. I believe that life is war. So every single day of your life, you should be prepared to do battle. However, your relationship should not be war, and there shouldn't be armor involved. And again, my experience and what everyone I've talked to so far, I'm willing to have anybody come up and talk and have, get your perspective. my perspective is, my observation is that men only put on armor when they've been after the fact, to be honest with you. They don't see it coming. They get stabbed in the back usually, and then they armor, and then they put the armor on, and then women complain about them being armored up and having one foot out the door, or however you want to look at it. Whereas women put that armor on before they're even married. And yeah, so I don't know how else to put that. Chief Wahoo says that is just a woman's way of saying she is a pain in the ass to deal with, and most men will get the fuck out instead of dealing with it for very long. You're probably not wrong, sir. You're probably not wrong. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, life is war. Relationship should not be, but if it is, it is. Yeah. So I think Glenn might be having trouble with his mic. He was fading a little bit there a minute ago, and now he's muted himself. So he might be having some issues. That's okay. We'll keep rolling. Smoking Spaceman. I don't know if all men go to battle like Spartans, but I know in my specific case, I've always viewed life as war. I mean, every day I literally say that when I talk to other men on the phone. A very common greeting that I use is "How goes the war?" Because it is war. I mean, every day, business is war, life is war. Surviving a trip to the grocery store oftentimes is might as well be war. So, just make it so. And yes, are you not entertained? I don't have a Gladius. I can't do that for you. But if I did, I would. So Jantix, sadly, my family and situation falls into the out. Okay, it's cool, Glenn. Falls into the outlier category. I don't have much more to say on this. I'm sorry, Jantix, if you are. And again, I'm not trying to make this a battle. I really kind of wanted to understand this. I really kind of wanted to I have been for a little while talking with people that have nothing to do with this podcast, that don't watch it and all of that. And just kind of, and I'm using the illustrative effect of armor to say that women put up shields. I've heard people when men often refer to that that it feels like that his woman has her defenses up, or is using, there's a shield between them, and it's I think it's a real thing. You can make me a battle ready Gladius. That would be cool, actually. That would be really cool. That would be awesome, actually. I would enjoy that. My son especially would enjoy that. Clovertax says it is one battle after another. Women don't usually see that, especially those who are too concerned with building up their armor rather than knowing their role. My God, man, you are on point. Clovertac hitting the home run of the night. I'm not sure that in this sense, armor and a shield are not two very different things. You could be right. But that was a perfect compliment. If men have their back, John Smith says, if men have their, whoa, wait a minute. I lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. If men have their backup plans until it's time to go all in, do you think fathers teach their daughters to do that? And so now they do the same thing, or do women do it differently? I think women just do it differently. I don't believe that father, and I don't have girls, so I can't really speak to this. I don't think that fathers teach their daughters to be ready to go to have a go bag packed, and to have their shields up or armor on, or however you want to look at it. I don't understand. I guess I'd have to understand that dynamic a little better. I don't have a daughter, so I don't understand it better. I think there are people out there with daughters that might be able to comment better. Damien, if you really did that, bro, that would be freaking awesome. That'd be freaking awesome. When you get ready to etch, if you want, I will send you the whatever the vector file so that you can make a whatever that is. Or you could just do a really cool Grid One Motorsports thing. That would be fucking awesome, dude. I would absolutely do that. Yeah, I think this is Kieran actually hits it perfectly. Fathers teach their daughters boundaries. I think that's 100% true. Guys, that's a great question. Who teaches young women that they cannot rely on the men in their lives? Who creates that dynamic in their head? That's a great question, actually. That is a great question. That is a really great question. Damien, we'll talk offline about that. That's awesome if you would actually do that. That's really freaking cool. So I think I'm rare in that I only know a few people that have been divorced. And to be honest, almost everyone I know that has been divorced are female because I don't know their husbands or ex-husbands. That's just my personal experience. So I don't actually have a frame of reference. Yeah, I know this Clover Tack. That's why I'm asking why. I don't know that men are teaching women to go into relationships with an exit strategy. So I'm curious who is teaching that. Who is teaching that? That's my question. That would be my question. Cheryl, you think it's moms have been hurt too many times? That's possible. That's possible. Or what about, do you think that it's their culture? Do you think it's the friends, the teachers, the music teacher that's been divorced 3 times and lives alone with 3 cats and just punishes people by making them play scales over and over and over again? Do you think it's that person that is teaching young women to go into every relationship that might lead to marriage with having this armor on? Or do you think it's the fathers? Do you think it's maybe the mothers? Yeah, I'm very curious. So yeah, I don't know that. Midnight Neutron or Newton, Midnight Newton. Technically, I'm divorced, but we never signed any papers. We did a wedding. I left her because she was physically abusive. Yeah, you can't have that. I mean, honestly, that's something that happens more often than not. Dad's always said, build yourself into something you can rely on. Then they said, go get married. Okay, that's it. I go with that. I do believe that women do say that. Well, feminism in the system pushing it. Okay, I go with that. ZD Den. There we go. ZD Den. Welcome back, young lady. How are you? I've actually missed your comments. Your comments are usually very well received, and I feel like that. Feel like you've been missed by all. Welcome back, ZT Den. The mother who feels let down in their own life but did nothing about it teaches these daughters. Wow, that is a strong remark from ZD Den. Very strong. Very, very strong. That is very strong. Wow, I cannot keep up with the comments tonight, guys. That's Clover Tax says, I never taught that. Never. My wife did not either. So could be single moms are more likely society because society preaches college and that shit way too much. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Josie says her dad did. Okay. All right. ZD, everyone is excited that ZD Den is back, as well they should be. Please welcome back ZD Den. Because let's see, Josie says back when husbands could actually be a little harsh. I'm assuming that's what she means. They witnessed it as kids, watching mom staying because she couldn't go anywhere. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that I buy that. Maybe I don't know about that. TV shows like How I Met Your Mother or Modern Family. Yeah, okay, I'll go. Yeah, society. I think. Do you think society at large has that much influence on the young men and women out there? Let me know about that. Angel Berber. We have to take into account how many fathers out there that are male feminists. Yes. I often forget that. Thank you for reminding me. There are a lot of men that have taken that approach, including an increasing amount on the right. Yes, you are correct. Lots of male feminism out there. We really need to do a show about that at some point. It's Copium, Angry Casper. Angry Casper, you're not quite the fanatic I thought you were. You're all right. Yeah. CloverTack has it right. I like CloverTack. John Smith for $5 American. I think women say prepare yourself so you don't get hurt, and men says you're going to get hurt. Prepare yourself. Wow. That's pretty insightful, and I like it. It's very succinct, simple, easy to remember. Thank you, sir, for the $5. It is appreciated. I will use it well, I promise you. It will go to great things, actually. This is actually a very good topic. It is a very good topic, and I'm really annoyed that Arthur Dye is not here. I really wish that she was here to participate in this, because this is right up her alley. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, Josie. Yeah, I mean, that's easy to say. I don't know that it really gets you there, though. They get it from, okay, all right. They get it from media, entertainment, education system, okay, and the bitter bats that nobody could handle, all poisoned by feminism. We really need Rachel Wilson. We really need Rachel Wilson here, because she could speak to this. I promise you that she has spoken to women about this. 100%. 100%. We have $5 Australian. We do take Monopoly money here. So thank you very much for that, sir. From Kieran Markin. Did I say that correct? Kieran Markin? Please let me know. It's the general feminist ideology that both men and women absorb, which teaches young women to have an exit strategy in relationships. Yes, I think that that's accurate. I believe that is something that is that's real. Welcome, Michigan Christian. Good to see you, MC, out there in the chat. Fathers can teach their daughters what a good man to find is and what to look for, but the mothers have to set the example of what a marriageable woman is and how to be high value to men. That's actually really good. That's really good. That's really good. Also, I think, though, that fathers have to show their daughters what it is to be a high value, if we want to use that term, or a marriageable woman, or a wifely woman. Fathers especially, have to show their daughters what that is and what that needs to be, so that they can recognize it not only in themselves, but they can recognize if a man is asking them for something else besides what a wifely woman is. They know right out of the gate that maybe there's something wrong here, and we either need some education, we need to get on the same page, or we need to seek seek another relationship. But excellent comment from Michigan Christian MC. I call him MC. Excellent. Yeah. The whole exit strategy is why I preach marrying young. That's true. There's not time to prepare a fucking exit strategy, and you just got to suck it up and make it work. Fuck yes. CloverTac coming out hard. You got to kind of feel like CloverTac has like an inch of whiskey in a mason jar right now, sitting back on his porch having fun. Because that was a fuck yeah answer right there. Absolutely. Yeah. So selfish. That's funny. Ogoli, it's good to see you back in the chat. That's great. I haven't seen the IRL yet, Siege. I don't know. And Glenn's away from the microphone right now. He's preoccupied right now. He's probably working, honestly. Yeah, excellent. I'm sorry I can't read all of these comments. You guys are making some great comments. If you're out there, please pay attention to the chat. The chat is on absolute fire tonight, and they're making great comments about this subject. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I pronounced your name correctly. That's I try. Can't always. MC Hammer, if you hit the nail on the head, great. Yeah, absolutely. I will see if I can do that. Yeah, got a lot of really good stuff here. A lot of good. The chat has just been on it. And look, guys, this is a really serious thing. And again, I really wish Arthur Dye is probably working, which is why she's not online to help me with, to express her opinion. But this is actually a really serious conversation. And I use armor is illustratively. Welcome, Chris Lestrange. Glad you're here. Arthur Daya, we've been waiting for you. I have this subject just for you. I'm using the term armor illustratively because I do believe that's how I view the way that women use this tactic or this idea that they have in their head. They use it as armor. And wrong button. And Arthur Daya, have you not been listening on your way home in the car? How in the world have you not done this? You're not caught up on the reading. You're not caught up on the reading or the whatever. Yeah, I see that she's here, Josie. Thank you. I was just talking to her. Anyway, we're level 4 plates in relationships. Also, Hero, Grumpelstiltskin. I thought you could have done a little better last night on verbal combat. You may need to just dial up the intensity just one notch. I think you were a little too laid back last night. Just a critique. Don't shoot the messenger. Arthur Dyer, we are talking tonight about your favorite subject of how women feel how women will state that they need to have, they need to go to college before marriage, and they need to prepare themselves in case a man is no longer there to provide for them, and in case a man leaves them or they have to leave the man. And therefore, and what we see happening is what we see happening is this phenomenon of them never actually getting married, and them being quite they miss their most attractive and fertile years by becoming this person that in theory can't be divorced, but they obviously are actually not marriage material anymore either. So I'm just, and that's a really weird way to say that. I could have done better. $5 comes in from ZT Den. I've attended wedding showers and the mothers gave daughters a get out fund. I've heard of this. It's a bank account the husband to be does not know about, and it is sad. Yes, I agree. That is nuts. I've heard of that, ZD Den. Thank you so much for that that $5 donation. It means a lot to me because I know that $5 means a lot to to anyone. I mean, $5 is $5. $5 American. So, it's real money. Arthur Daya, as you know, I had to actually put a lot of thought into this, Arthur Daya. I had to actually really think about what was being said and why the theories were there and why this armor, women go into relationships with this armor on. And I couldn't really, it took me a while to process it because it was so foreign. It was a foreign concept to me. I really didn't have a metric for me to kind of go through it, right? Like I really didn't. So I had to really think about it. I talked to a bunch of my friends, and it took me, to be honest with you, I've been working on this topic for about 6 or 8 weeks. I've talked to several friends of mine that have been divorced, all of them female, shockingly. I have talked with some men who have been also been through divorces, but not necessarily friends of mine, just people I know that have been divorced. And and I've been paying attention to what other people have said. And we're gonna revisit this. And so we've had a really great conversation about it so far. I think that it's okay, so your dad did it. I think that he did you a disservice. So I think that the difference is that I noticed in the conversations that I've had with real people, not part of this audience, never heard me speak about this. They're, friends from Facebook or friends of mine that are on Facebook, I should say. They're friends in real life, and just, people I know in real out there in the world. By and large, women seem to have this sort of armor that they go into marriage with. We've talked about this now ad nauseum, but I'm doing this for specifically Arthur Daya. And men do not. Men put on armor as they get stabbed, as they feel betrayed, whether or not they're actually betrayed, as they feel betrayed, as they feel used, as men are put through the ringer, if you will, they armor up, which, as anybody knows, is the wrong time, the wrong way to do it, but it's just the way it is. Whereas women go into the relationship with this armor on, and then they or they at least they attempt to. And so it's a unique thing, I think. And I don't think that and my impression of this is that I think that ZD Den's observation, which, by the way, again, welcome back. Right out of the gate, you come in with a very good observation. ZD Den and Clovertac have had the best takes on this. ZD Den with the feminist. This is kind of a feminist ideal that's being absorbed through external sources, and then, of course, Clovertac saying basically the same thing. And the and look, I'm not saying that women should not have life skills to be able to go out and live on their own. What I'm saying is that putting marriage on hold, not having relationships because you're going to college to have a career that it takes, and a massive amount of dedication and seriously interferes with your ability to have relationships it's what keeps these women from having successful relationships. If they would concentrate, and I agree with Clovertack's comment from earlier. If the women would concentrate half as much on the relationships and finding good relationships, then they wouldn't need to concentrate so hard on having the job. I'm going to read Crazy Mama's comment. Man, that last super chat got me. No wonder these young girls are screwed up in the head with mothers like that. Yes, I said that. I've actually heard this before. I've heard this actually many times now, where the mothers give money to the daughters as an escape fund that the man doesn't know anything about. And what's worse is that if the relationships get there, I recently read, and somebody else is, I know that somebody out there has read the same article where a woman had such a fund, I think, and I forget how much money it was, but it was a fairly significant amount. And that her parents had given her as a get out of the marriage fund, right? That was her money. Well, they got in a situation where they were going to lose their house. Her and her husband were going to lose the house. They were way behind on bills. Both of them had been out of work for a while. I think maybe it was maybe it was a C-19 sort of thing. And that money could have saved them. It could have saved their house. It could have saved their marriage. It could have saved everything. But the girl would not use it for that because it was her get out of jail free card. And how fucked up is that? I know that other people besides me have read that story. I think it was in it was on a blog. I forget whose blog it was on, but it was on a blog. So I guess at this point we have to we need to talk about whether we're talking about is society more concerned with raising a bunch of crazy women who will become crazy cat ladies down the road and have unfulfilled lives, or are they more interested in raising families? And I think that this is a self-evident thing, but maybe I'm wrong. I would love input from the chat on this one. So welcome, Michelle Nayikis. I'm glad that you've made it. Yeah, I'm going to say that it's a failure if a father is telling his daughter to if a father is telling his daughter to basically be afraid of marriage, then he's failed as a father. And I'll just say that. I'll just say that out loud. I'm sorry if I offend someone or hurt their feelings, but you've just failed as a father. I would never tell my son that ever. I would never, ever tell my son to prepare for failure in marriage, ever. That would be absolutely that boggles the mind, or my mind at least, that such a thing is even possible. Like I can't come to terms with that, guys. I really like I'm sitting here going, wow, how does this even work? Like I don't know how we get there from here, like this is completely foreign to me. I'm gonna just do this with Glenn because he's not here right now. Whoop. All right. Glenn will just stay right there on my shoulder. Yeah, Grumple-Stillskin, I'm sorry, buddy. I meant to. I just saw your comment. No, my son won't get a prenup. Why would he do that? Grumple-Stillskin, you did seem very tired. You seem like you just weren't on top of your game. But maybe next time, man. I think it'll. I think that's it. No, I wouldn't. Look. If you're planning your exit strategy on day one, you've already fucked up. You fucked up. Fear is a spare change that keeps us broke. Live life without fear. Yes, I advocate that. Well, no, actually, what I said was I would prefer the government stay out of marriage. However, unfortunately, we're not there yet. I've also said that I don't understand why secular people get married at all because they don't get married in a church. And, I guess at that point, maybe you just go down and do the justice of the peace, and that's fine. That's your choice. You can do whatever you want. Totally cool. And yes, I do believe that all divorce is unfair. Not all divorce. I do believe that the courts are intensely aligned against men. That doesn't change with a prenup. That doesn't change at all. As a matter of fact, it probably makes you a bigger target. And I agree with, where did that go? I agree with this. Clover Tack's on fire tonight. He doesn't give two shits if people get married, secular, whatever, but they should be taught to choose right. I agree with this as well. You must be, it's more important that I'm teaching my son the right type of woman to choose, the right type, the things to look for, and the things that, hopefully will serve him well. Now, unfortunately, right now, I don't know that there's any, I don't know that even with teaching conventional wisdom to my son, that I don't know that that's going to really help, right? Because let's just face it, people are fucked up. But hopefully, this is a really telling statement because you can't find a man as good as your dad because we naturally idolize our parents, and that's a really bad thing to. That's honestly a really interesting thing to say. I'm going to say it's bad, but yeah, I don't know that's not. I wouldn't say that. I definitely did not want to marry a woman like my mom. I try really hard not to listen to people who profit from selling me something on something. Okay. So when I learn, if I go to buy a lawnmower, I go read the manufacturer's brochure and I do a bunch of independent research and studies because if I go to the sales guy, he's going to tell me whatever will get me to buy whatever it is that he wants me to buy. So a divorce attorney only gets paid if you get divorced, not if you stay together. So they're rooting in the wrong direction. Just like your dad. The problem, I think, is that your dad was a divorce attorney and he really wanted you to be, he really only made money if people get divorced. So, is what it is. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know your dad. I hope your dad was better than that, but yeah, Clover Tack's right. Listening to a lawyer or marriage advice it's not a win. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I've got it right here. And I even have both of them, so you get to pick. Yeah. Yeah, perfect example is what, and what's interesting about what happened to Steven Crowder. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I did not follow that story closely, but wasn't the whole thing about him being abusive towards his wife like overblown and just a bunch of drama nonsense? Somebody correct me on that. Mostly did medical malpractice. Good. Still, lawyers, yeah, just not. I don't take advice from lawyers really, but I carry an attack attorney, so that's if I listen to lawyers, I'd be broke. So that's probably a bad thing. I missed the top line of the story, so help me out. Help me out with that, Chief Wahoo. Oh, she planned it out there. Okay, so yeah, yeah. So it was, gotcha. I understand. So Crowder was. So what you're saying is Crowder was set up, probably based on some lawyer's advice to his wife, so that he looked like a complete asshole, and she looked like she was just a loving wife. I got you. Yeah, I need to give a mod the link, because I'm not going to have time to do that. Give me a second. Mr. Boulay is not on tonight. The monologue is just about over. But yeah, I knew that he'd been set up. I just couldn't remember what the exact story was. Yeah. So thank you guys for the for that. I appreciate that. All right. Is BSR in the chat? I think BSR is in the chat. I see. Yeah, BSR, you've got the link, so you can give it to the other mods as necessary. The silver bullet divorce strategy. Yeah, right. So that's the way it is. Guys, if you want to come up, we are in the we're past the monologue section of the program. So if you guys want to come up and discuss this, please reach out to one of the mods. BSR does have the link. He can give it to other mods or give it to you directly. So, that's what it is. Yeah. So Arthur Dye, I really hope you listened to the first part of the stream where I wasn't just kind of rolling through everything as fast as I could. Yeah. So please, yeah, I think the first part of the stream was really, really good too. I just don't want to have to I don't want to go back through it all. And I knew that I wouldn't. So, yeah. When I saw the Crowder video, though, I was like, that doesn't seem like Crowder just didn't even seem like he's that type of person, right? Like, I've never met him in person, but I've seen some of his on and off camera videos, and off camera he acts like just a normal dude. Like, I wouldn't expect him to treat his wife like it was. So, oh yeah, everybody has flaws. Yeah, absolutely. Glenn, get back on the podcast, bruv. Yeah. No, Glenn, I think Glenn's working. Glenn's very far behind on work, so he's got to catch up. Guys, while I'm waiting for people to come up, let's talk for a minute about the world's greatest podcast conference that I'm putting on in Nashville, Tennessee. Currently, the date is looking to be the weekend of October the 12th. That may change. The studio and flights and things like that may cause a slight change here or there. Tickets will go on sale as soon as I get the attendee list nailed down. I'm hoping to have that nailed down in the next week or so. What we're looking at is we're probably going to have around 9 pretty top level, conservative leaning content creators. Mr. Westford, no problem at all. And I really like to help out anybody I can. And thank you for coming in and saying thank you. That means a lot. So as I was saying, guys, we're going to do the world's biggest podcast convention. Probably not, but it's what I'm calling it for right now. Glenn has a cooler title, but I don't know that I like it that much. But it's okay. Looking at 9 top level content creators, 4 content creators that are amazing in Nashville. The way I'm hoping to have it work out is we'll have the creators come in Friday night. They're going to go out, or on Friday, they're going to go out on the town Friday night. We'll start doing a podcast Saturday morning. There will be 3 different podcasts on Saturday: a morning, a mid-afternoon, and a evening podcast. In between, there will be various events and things like that, meet and greets, all kinds of little things like that. As soon as I get around to making that schedule, we'll get it out there and you'll be able to see it. And along with who's going to be there, which is still being worked out. But my target is 9, maybe 10, personalities. We'll be selling tickets for this. Right now, it's looking like we're going to have VIP tickets, which will be all day to any session you want to go to, all of them if you want. So all day VIP, that'll get you lunch, maybe dinner. That's going to get you into some of the meet and greets, and that's depending on what the final schedule is. And obviously, it'll get you closer to the stage. And then we'll have a standard general admission ticket, which won't get you fed. You'll have the option to buy food, obviously, but you will be able to come in to any of the shows and or all of them that day and watch the podcast live, and have a great time doing it. As well as there's some other cool stuff that's in the works as well. I'm not really going to get too far into it, but we're gonna really dig down into it in the coming weeks. I'm working on it actively right now. I have 2 potential venues. We will have a live studio audience, and that will be cool. Jantix, let me cover this. So my wife, when I got married, my wife had never had a job. I think she maybe worked part-time at a Asian market. That was it. She never actually had a job. She graduated with a master's in finance from DU. And she I'll read this in just a minute, Raging Patriot. Everybody else read this while I'm talking. So she graduates with a master's in finance. While she's looking for a job and doing internships, she worked part-time, a couple of days a week at, I forget, like a restaurant or something. I forget what it was. I worked full-time. My wife went to school. We didn't have kids. If we'd had kids, she wouldn't have worked. And she would have preferred probably not to work because her class load was so heavy. And I don't think she didn't work until after, she didn't really work until after she had completed the master's in finance. We got, she then got an internship, which led to a job. We still did not have children. She worked, I worked, We saved money. She worked a regular 9 to 5, like very little overtime, very boring, very reasonable, or not reasonable, that's a bad word, but a very regular job. And it did require that she traveled to China a few times a year because, being Chinese, that's one of the reasons that I hired her. But I went along on that a lot of times. If I had holes in my schedule, I could do that. So again, still didn't have kids. It was just us. It was, we were dating. It was like we were still dating in a lot of aspects. We had a lot of time to go on vacation together. We had a lot of time to spend together. I never felt like that she was not available to me as a wife. And I think this is a very important point. I'm also going to say that while she was doing this, I didn't necessarily agree nor disagree with it, because I was working while she was working. And as long as the housework and everything else got done, I didn't care. And she did all, and I'm not going to get into that portion of it, but when we had our first child, 5 years of being married, we had our first child. At that point, she basically took a couple of months off of work, because she was still working just a regular 9 to 5, no overtime, nothing fancy. It was at a different firm, but she didn't work weekends. She didn't work, any of that. And when she had the child, she did not, when she had our first child, she did not need to go right back to work. When she did go back to work, it was because she wanted to go back. She wanted to be back in the office to get a little bit of a break. Children are consuming, some would say all consuming. And her personality is such that it just was just kind of the way it probably needed to work, if that makes sense. Because of this, my wife, and I don't prescribe this for anybody. This is just how it worked for me. My wife then decided that because my son had gotten old enough at that point that I was doing more of the caretaking, she was able to go back to school and do a weekend program. And so she reduced her hours further at her corporate job, which she was able to do because she could get the work done in the time that she was there. And she did a master's program, an MBA. And that was the worst part of it, because at that time she was having to fly. But when she needed to be in class, that was the time that I was available to be with my son full time, or my son and I were, there was something going on that it was an inconvenience that she wasn't there, but it wasn't something that was a major blow, if you will. Right. It didn't hurt anything. When my son got to be about 5, 6, my wife had finished the master's program. She had a she'd done a couple of really great internships, and she had a really great opportunity to work in the industry she got that she wanted to go into, which was investment banking, specifically in the tech sector. At that same time, I was spooling down my career, and I wanted to take care of my son, because I believe that men do a better job of raising, especially young men, than women do. And so as I was spooling down my career, she was spooling her career up, and it worked. And it just worked out neatly that way. There was never a point in time where if I had said, "Hey, you really need to go home," and
back.
Yeah, welcome back. There was ever a point in time where if I had said, "Hey, I really need you to stay at home," that couldn't have happened, right? And we fortunately had a lot of help. You know, her parents helped out a lot. We had neighbors that were Chinese as well that were my wife's friends that had children, and so it was a community, which I think is weird because one of the reasons I think that we have so many problems now with women going back into with women going into the workforce, because women always worked. I mean, let's not try and buy into the 50s ideal of the woman sitting around on the couch watching the kids and cooking dinner. That really was never true. Women worked all day. Women worked out in the fields, or they worked in the house. They did all the laundry. They did all of these things, and the kids were running wild by the time they were 5 anyway. Because and basically you had a community and a group of kids that all took care of each other. And my son had that experience with our neighbors because they all spoke Chinese and English, and they all played together, which worked out pretty well while we had that dynamic. Now, when we moved, obviously that changed, but so I can't really use my experience, my personal experience, very well, because the reality is that it wasn't the normal person's experience. Maybe it should be, but it wasn't. So I have to look to other more, I guess, normal people for their experiences, right? I have to be able to say, well, look at my neighbor. His daughter has married a more or less blue collar guy. His daughter works part-time from home. The grandparents take care of the grandkids a lot so that those two can work. They seem to have a great relationship. And I look at that and say, okay, that's not very dissimilar than the way my beginning was with my wife, with maybe the only real difference being that I think that the daughter works part-time in an office and part-time at home, which is very, I think, a lot more common now. Let me take care of this super chat. Sorry it took so long, Raging Patriot. $2 comes in from the Raging Patriot 1776. Hit that like button or get off my lawn. That's right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I hope that we got a bunch of likes. And Crazy Mama says, I stayed home and was a housewife until my kids became school age. Then I decided to go to work, and it worked well for us. Yes, I think that works out pretty good. Let's see what we got here. Alimony is usually 20% of the higher income earner's income, so a big hit for a man. But try living off 20% of if your prior household income and have no job as a woman. So Arthur Daya, this is bullshit. Damn it. Why do you do this? This is crazy. So first of all, it's not 20% of the income.
She here? Have her come up.
It's not 20% of the income only. She also gets, if they're children, she's going to get child support. Why does she need to have more than 20% of a man's income to pay your bills? Is not
after taxes too. Oh no, it's not even. It's before taxes. He has to, he gets that garnished from him,
if he makes
and then he has to pay taxes on the.
Yeah, if he makes $250,000 a year, she gets her cut off the top.
Yep.
Of the pre-taxed income. So, and the house gets sold, and she gets that money. If you have a $300,000 house, and you owe $150,000 on it, that $150,000 that you get back, he gets $75,000, she gets $75,000, and it may not even be that even a split. So, and she gets a car that in general he still has to pay for. She doesn't pay for the car. If there's
she gets the car and he gets the payment.
Yeah, right. And this is the way it works in divorce. This is the reality of divorce in this country. It's bullshit to say, well, it's only 20% of the income. The income is not even a half of the equation. The income's a third of the equation.
And you're also forgetting all the
I
assets
really
that they already
dislike that.
had to
I really dislike that.
all
That's
the assets that they had to split down the middle. And some of those assets could also be his retirement or his 401k.
right.
That she gets half of. So, if you're not accounting for all those other things and you're just trying to lead with 20%, then either you are being disingenuous and dishonest in representing all that she gets, or you are unknowledgeable of all these details and you're just making yourself look kind of dumb. Not calling Arthur Daya dumb, just saying it just kind of makes you look dumb.
Welcome, Clover Tack.
Here I come to save the day.
How many people on this panel have been divorced and gone through the divorce court?
I was what,
Is
3
it
weeks
just me?
away, 2
Is it-
weeks away. I've been through everything but signing the fucking paperwork.
So,
And with my wife I'm with now for 30 years last month.
Damn, son.
We were 6-7 years in, something like that, in like a fucking week. I don't even know. Away from all we had to do was sign some papers and the judge signed them. So it was that close. So, I realize that people want to focus on the fucking negatives. And
God damn it, John Smith, son of a bitch. I'll highlight that in a minute. I am a huge outlier. Look, that's why I don't normally use my experience. If you notice, especially lately, I've been saying I have to go talk to people who I guess live in this world in a different way than I do. So that when I say things, people don't say, well, you're just this huge outlier and none of this makes fucking bullshit here. And
but here's the thing with that. Like, I disagree when you talk about yourself all the time.
Yeah.
But because you see yourself differently than I see you.
Okay.
And here's the fucking thing about that. Like, you need to listen to the fucking outliers, people, because the outliers are the ones that are happy and their marriages are lasting and everything else. So why the fuck do you want to listen to somebody who knows the modern world and pleasing the society? Fuck them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Listen to some wisdom. Listen to some people that's been there and done that.
That's true.
And listen to some positivity. Everything I hear is, oh, I need a safety plan. I need to put some armor on. Oh, divorce is this, and you get screwed. You know what? If you fucking will choose wisely, meaning somebody that your values and everything align, and you're going to know that when you pick that person. Not somebody that makes the same amount as you. Not somebody, yes, attraction is a thing, but not somebody solely based on whether or not they're fucking hot. Not somebody solely based on, how much money they make. Those are superficial freaking things. Things like their work ethic, things like their morals. Those are the types of things that need to align. If those things align, and yes, there's some attraction there, then odds are you're choosing wisely. And then from there, it's not sunshine and fucking rainbows. So you're gonna have to put in the work, and that's why you need to number one, be somebody that's not fucking lazy. And if you are, that's something you need to work on as far as yourself. And then number two, you don't need to choose somebody lazy, because when it comes time in the marriage to put in the fucking work, one lazy person is a problem. Two lazy people is hands down a divorce.
Yeah. That's dope. I like that. That's badass. I'm going to read this. John Smith, channeling his inner grid one, has said, I've never been divorced because I'm not an insufferable woman. I'm not an insufferable woman. That sounds like some shit I would say. God. And
I just hear so many excuses. It's like,
I don't. I'm really tired of the excuses. That was actually part of the whole point of this.
Suck it up.
Yeah. that was kind of my whole thing about this, is that I had to go ask people, because to me it's all a bunch of fucking excuses, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I don't have to be here and I don't have to care, right?
right.
Like, I could very easily say, I don't give a shit if you ever find somebody. I don't give a shit if you're ever happy or if you ever get married, and I'm going to go pull some triggers on things that go boom. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. But, I'm here because I do care. Like, I think that the quote unquote outliers, that needs to not be the outliers anymore. And the only way we can do
Yeah.
that is to try to tell our story and try to help fucking people that right now are not the outliers. That's the only way we change the majority back around, which it once was in this country. We can't be silent.
I mean, I agree with you, like, on a lot of levels. Like,
And we can't handle shit with kid gloves either. And I'm not being mean. But
yeah.
we can't handle. You got to call a spade a spade.
Well, and the other night, I don't know if you were here for the show the other night, but I told everyone that, my own mom is, she would never start a business. Like, she would never do any of the things I've done.
Mhm.
Like, she would never do it. Like, there's no way. So where would I, I had to learn all that on my own. I couldn't look back and say, well, that's what my parents did, so I should do that. I had to look at it from a, hey, I don't ever want to be fucking poor again. Like, ever. I never want to have to sleep in a, shitty ass one, room that I rent in a house with 4 other dudes. I don't want to ever have to not, have to worry about how much gas money I put in my car, because I'm literally making a choice between eating for the next 2 days or being able to drive to work for the next 2 days. Like, I never want to ever be in that situation again.
Yeah.
And and here's the thing, that all of the, and this is what really bugged me about this women putting on the armor for their for their marriage, right? It really has bugged me that they feel like they have to go out and get this job, and they have to stay up on it, and they have to be ready at the drop of a fucking hat to go back into the workforce at a high level so that they can make ends meet. And I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. I suffered for my art. I mean, I've lived in shops. I've lived literally in closets in shops to, so that I could learn my trade and suffer for my art. All I hear is exactly what you're talking about. Like, bullshit. Like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I never want to be uncomfortable again, but I don't want to do anything about it. Right. Yeah. And I don't want to trust anybody.
Yeah.
So,
well, and Arthur Dye is one of those. So you said she started this. Thanks for starting a bunch of shit, by the way, Arthur Dye. We appreciate it.
Well, she's been on this about the last, like, probably 4 months.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a bunch, and I've literally had to think about this and talk about this with people, because I had no basis of and she could beat me a little bit because I didn't really have a basis of reference for this, right? Like, I didn't really understand where she was coming from, because in my point of view, that I've been retired 5 years. 5 years? No, 8 years. I've been retired 8 years.
I've been 6. So, yeah.
I could go back in the workforce today. Now, granted, I would not go back in at the same level I came out of. I would have to, there's been technology changes. There's been procedure change. I couldn't go back in and be the fucking boss that I was. But I could go back in if I had to and still make a decent living, and improve myself. This is the fallacy that I've had with this argument, is that you have to have this. You not only do you need to learn a skill, which okay, but you have to go.
I would say multiple skills. And I learned that from my. I learned that from my
Arthur Dye has expressed it to me, and I hope and she can correct me if I'm expressing
if learning the skill is having a marketable skill that you could earn monetary, wages from, so you could provide for your, family if need be.
Mhm.
That's every adult. Every adult should have that.
Okay, I agree. So, but here's the
Oh.
thing. So if I can't go, so I agree. But let's just. I'm gonna make this really fucking obnoxious and annoying. I'm gonna make this really fucking obnoxious and annoying. So let's say that I hadn't married my wife and I had married I'd married some other woman, which I never would have. I do better with very ambitious women, so I'm attracted to those. But let's just say that I wasn't me and I had married the bartender, not a bartender. I couldn't do bartender. A waitress. I'd married a waitress at Hooters. I look like I could marry a waitress at Hooters, right?
Does she have Hooters? Is the question.
Well, obviously, she'd have to have Hooters.
No, just
but
because
I
she
look
works
like
there
that guy,
doesn't mean
right?
they
I
have
look like
Hooters.
the exact guy
Not anymore.
that would work in a factory.
They look like they're not Hooters. They're spies now.
Yeah. So I look like the kind of guy that marry a waitress from Hookers, right? I mean, Hooters.
Hookers. That's a whole nother restaurant.
So you're saying you're Richard Gere? You're saying
I said that out loud. I don't think you're supposed to say that out loud.
I'll go to that restaurant too,
I don't think you're supposed to say that out loud. But if I had married a waitress from Hooters and I had a normal job and I didn't really and I just was a normal, like I worked down here at Bridgestone making tires or whatever the fuck. I made, I top out at $30 an hour. We have a decent life. I have a decent house. I have a decent car. Everything's decent, but nothing's fucking great, right? Like I'm not rolling around in newer cars or whatever. I'm definitely not driving anything but I'm driving Chevys. That's the high end for me. Let's say that happens, and me and the girl from Hooters gets divorced.
Great. Why are you talking about my life subliminally?
And let's say that we get divorced. Has she lost anything? She can go right back to Hooters and make the same money she was making, or more.
Probably not. Gravity doesn't work in their favor over time.
Let's say that it was a 5-year. Let's say it was a 5-year marriage, right? 5 years in, we can't stand the fucking sight of each other. I want to go fishing. She wants to go to fucking Taylor Swift, and I just can't do it, right? Let's just say that that's the case, and we just get divorced. Let's say that happened. Is she really out? No.
Except
because it's 5 years later. It's 5 years later, or whatever, and then it's fine. So, all right, now let's say that I went to college, like I did, and let's say that instead of doing stupid shit like going and playing with race cars, I instead went out and I used my degree in psychology. I opened up, I went to work in a counseling office, and I eventually opened my own little place and blah, blah, blah. And I have all this stuff. And now I go to, and now we get divorced. We've been married 10 years and we get divorced. We have one kid. She takes the kid and leaves me because I'm fucking boring, because all I want to do when I get home is I want to sit on the couch and stare at the fucking TV. And to her, that's boring. Huh?
We've grown apart.
We've grown apart. Right.
We've grown apart. Is that shit? What the fuck is that shit?
Nothing has grown apart. You've been the same person since you guys got married.
You're supposed to grow together. So if you feel that you're growing apart, you or both of you have done something wrong.
Well, if you guys are growing apart, it's either one is you
never were together in the first place.
Well, either you never were together in the first place, or you know what? I'll even say this: in many times, it's intentional sabotage to say that you guys have grown apart. Sorry to say that, but when a woman says, "Oh, we have grown apart," it's because they have created that distance intentionally to where they could use as an excuse. It's a planned thing.
Yeah, let's. I'm not. I don't want to assign motive. I'm just saying that. Let's just
I'll
say
assign
that
motive.
whatever it is. You know, me and the girl from Hooters, we're getting a divorce. 10 years in, one kid. Can she not go out, work as a waitress, making the same or more money than she did before we got married, and now I got to pay child support, and I'm going to have to pay some alimony, right? And whatever. So has her life changed significantly? Obviously, she has a kid.
It's changed from it's went backwards most likely from at least a little bit from the marriage, from her lifestyle being marriage. And that's why I say we're focusing on the fucking negative, and we need to work on the marriage and put the work into the fucking marriage and keep the fucking marriage going. You've got 10 years in and you're going to give the shit away. 10 fucking years. I see people getting married, divorced at 15 years and 20 years and 30 years. What the living fuck, dude?
I agree.
I got underwear older than that I can't give up and throw away. Like, and you're going to throw away a fucking marriage?
Don't tell your wife where they are. They'll be gone tomorrow.
Oh, no shit. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I have a wife that will do that because she knows I can't. Right. So all the holy socks and the holy underwear, like, she'll throw that shit out and buy me new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, but the point is that we're not talking about. So I think Arthur Daya's deal is that she, let's tilt the scale in Arthur Daya's favor here. Okay. Again, I haven't been corrected yet, so I'm just going to keep fucking going. Let's say that instead of marrying a girl from Hookers, I marry a girl that is in college with me. We both go to college, and we both come out, and we both go in our prospective fields, and we both make about 50, 60 grand a year. Starting, and we end up after 10 years of marriage, we're both making about, I'm making 70 or 80,000, and she's now working part-time, making 24, 25 grand a year as, because she's taking care of the 1.5 kids that we have, because we've been married 10 years, and we're an average family. And all of a sudden she's bored. She doesn't want to be with me anymore. She's, I work too much. I'm not home enough. We haven't taken a vacation in 3 years because I needed to pay for the new lawnmower, and shit like that. And so she's like, I'm out. Okay. You treat me bad. We don't go on vacation. We don't have a pool. My life with you sucks.
You treat me bad is super fucking subjective. That we don't have a pool is objective. Those are
right.
But
I agree. I agree, but I'm just saying.
No, I get where you're going. Well, I've seen two things out there in the chat from with Jan and Arthur Dye, which seems to be most of the opposition to what we're talking about tonight, which is great. I mean, it's a wonderful conversation. But it's trust issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sadly, nobody out there is going to fix your trust issues. I don't know. I don't know how you get over that. I don't know how you fix that. I mean, the right man would probably fix a lot of that for you. But if you are having trust issues, you're likely going to have to lean into with your choosing. I'm a big thing about the choosing. You're probably going to have to lean into friends, family, coworkers, something like that to kind of help.
I got to light Arthur Dye up here. I'm sorry. I got to light her up. I'm going to be mean, and this is going to hurt. I did, as you know, marry the investment banker, but she would not be successful.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Without my making it possible.
Right.
For her to do that.
Right.
It's a team fucking effort. I would not have been able to retire at 45 had I not worked my ball sack off and not taken a vacation for 10 years and not done anything but fucking work. I wouldn't have been able to retire. Even once I retired, it was only because that we were aligned and working together that she was able to do that. Yeah, sure, she can support herself fine. She knows that as well as I do. But let's put the shoe on the other foot. I'm the investment banker and she's a blue collar worker. And I take her away from all of that, right? And now she has a life of luxury and she chooses to not do anything, right, with it.
Yeah.
When if she divorces me, she still gets 20% of my income, which is more than enough to live off of. So you cannot ever use this idea that just because you divorce a dude and you're no longer able to operate off of his income, that you need to have stayed up current and you needed to have sacrificed your entire life to have this, to wear this armor of protection against some dude leaving you that will never happen because you never got married. And I'm not making this personal, Arthur Dye. I unfortunately, this does describe your circumstance, but you're not the only woman doing this.
Right.
You can't not have kids in marriage. And I know women right now that are not having children in their marriage because they want to complete whatever fucking school. I have a friend of mine who is childless right now because his weak, dumb ass went along with his wife completing medical school. And I don't know why I'm picking on doctors tonight. It just seems to be a theme. They're both fucking doctors, by the way.
Right.
He went along with her completing medical school. I think she's actually a surgeon of some kind in California. They don't have kids, and they never will. Because he went along with that shit. And by the time she could have had the time to have kids, they couldn't have kids.
Yep.
And now they have no legacy for his mom. His mom is pissed as shit. I actually know this family well enough that I've talked to the mom, to his mom. I don't know her mom. I've talked to his mom and she's pissed as shit. She doesn't have any grandkids and has literally tried to break them up and get him to marry a younger woman so she'll have grandkids.
So a father, when we were having this goes in line with the conversation that was happening earlier about fathers and their daughters. And it's a father's role to not only show them the type of man that they want to choose, but teach them the sneaky things and the other to be able to choose. The other side of that is the priorities of a father. And what is the priorities of a man in general, right? And you hit the nail on the head. It's the lineage, right? Like, I want the family to carry on. That's what humanity has always been about. Always been about. So it that kind of all goes back to the father actually, having his priorities in line, with his daughters. Now, you were talking about you and your wife earlier. And so what I got out of that is probably not what a lot of people got out of that, but I'm in a much different
position. That's okay. You're an adult. Life. You can have your own opinion.
Well, I'm just saying I'm in a much different position in life, so I probably took that a little way. What I heard by that was that you and your wife built things together.
Yes.
That's basically what I heard out of that, right? And that's what you want. And this is the fucking problem with, I've got all my armor on, and now I'm going to go find a guy that's got all of his armor on, which men should have their fucking armor on for the most part, unless their wife is dressing their fucking wounds from all the daily battles they've had. You should be comfortable enough
their
to take
wives
their
are the
off.
ones they battling with.
They shouldn't. That's the point. Is they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't.
You should be able to come home, take your armor off, and your wife dress your wounds. That should be her fucking role.
That would be
not
that's
to wear
romantic.
Armor.
That's romantic and that's ideal. But ever since the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, that harmony that you're speaking of is no longer a natural thing.
Yeah.
It is something that is two individuals have to work on, which actually is very conflicting to their own individual desires.
Well, so I was going somewhere with this. Where I was going with this, you went off, you attacked the armor tangent. But where I was going with this was that if you come in totally independent, self-sustaining, 6-figure income, got a house, and the other person comes in the same way, the fuck do you got to build together? What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, hopefully little children.
Okay, valid. But there's more to it than that. What if it's a situation where if you find out medically that can't happen, or there are outliers with that where for whatever reason it can't happen. I mean, there's nothing else to really to what is there to build toward? Doesn't make any sense. And I get Jan's point. I don't see all of it, and I can't respond over here on the grids thing he runs.
I hear what you guys are saying, and here's the thing. Unfortunately, men, like, the reality is, yes, your wife should be dressing your wounds for you. And okay, let me say this.
That's true.
If you have a Proverbs 31 wife, if you have a virtuous wife, now we do know that they're out there, and we know that they're rare. And the reality is, not all of us are married to them. Okay. We're married to wives, but not all wives are virtuous wives. So if you're with that Proverbs 31 type of woman, yeah, she's dressing your wounds. She's bandaging you up. She's still a woman. She's still gonna be rebellious at times with you, and you're still gonna have, your guys' spats and your issues, but it's gonna be less often than the non-virtuous wives, right? And she's still gonna be falling in line to your leadership. She's like, it's the first captain, it's the captain and the first mate and the first officer, dynamic. And but for the majority of men, the reality is that you typically don't put your armor on until you get home. And the reason is that your enemies can't hurt you. They can never get close enough to send any type of shot at you that could take you off your game, just take the legs out from underneath you.
Yeah.
The reality is, it's the woman that you live with that tends to be the one that delivers the most deadliest blow. And I'm sorry to say that. It's reality. We have seen guys self-delete at 3.5 times a greater rate than women do because of divorce. Yeah. And I understand why guys have to put up this barrier once their wives start behaving a certain way or start going a certain direction. Their natural response is, okay, let me fortify myself so I know if something happens, my exterior is good. My interior is protected,
Yes.
And so you kind of have to, when you get to that point, you gotta divorce your wife in your mind. You have to divorce her in your mind while you work on. I'm
gonna come back to that because there is something about that's true. But look, give me 1 second here. Jantic says, Clovertac, what if the father dies young? Yeah. What are the children's to do? I'm assuming that's children's mom to do. Mm-hmm. You keep honing on fathers, but not everyone has a father. We are going through that now in our family.
So let me bitch at some other people out there that are not these armor wearing women. Let me complain to all the people in the chat and listening that are single moms that are not finding a strong male figure around and I'm not talking about a booty call or something like that. Again, coworker, friend, family member, whatever. That could be a strong male role model, mentor, whatever. Somebody I think mentioned church up there, which is a great one, for their children. So first of all, single moms need to do a better job at getting their buried multi gender perspective, or I guess it'd be a binary gender perspective, that needs to be present with raising children. Second, if you're out there and you're a fucking uncle or somebody in a church, or single mom and the kid, and there's no men around, and you're out there and you are a man, and it could work in your favor even more if you yourself have children. Maybe invite them over for the sleepover. Maybe invite them over to the camping trip. Maybe you take them fishing. Maybe you play ball with them. There's all kinds of things. And while you're doing that, you have life lesson talks.
I think that it's for widows. All I can really say is there's a lot of women have thrown away a lot of great men. Go find one.
Yeah. Well, people are afraid to step
Just
up.
look in the trash. There's a man there.
People are afraid to step up, and I'm glad Jan brought that up. That's not falling on deaf ears with me. I understand it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse with the father thing. You completely get where she's coming from, and no doubt, as much as we've been on her case and Arthur died tonight, I want to get on the pace of people that don't fucking volunteer and help in their community with shit. And this is coming from somebody that spent 2 decades with a youth organization. So this again, it's somebody coming from.
Are you talking about YA youth organization? Like it's a youth organization like for the criminal like youth.
No, I'm talking about I was in a youth shooting sports organization for a couple of decades.
I was gonna say I could see you as a YA instructor as well, but
no, it was youth shooting sports related. But yeah, in fact, I did a this last weekend at the Knoxville event. I had my own panel, or I was what do you call it? The moderator on the panel of a youth shooting sports panel. So because of that experience, so you're getting preached to, you're getting talked to, but I walk the walk, baby. So if you're out there, step up. There's kids out in the community that need you, and you can do that. And you can do that as a single man to an extent. Just saying. Now, single man
John,
with.
Yes, I see you back there, but I normally don't have more than 3 people up on the panel at a time. So just chill out, hang out for a minute. Don't get angry.
Who come in?
Kieran, yeah.
Okay.
He's being quiet.
Me.
Quiet.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. We can hear you fine. Yeah, great.
Yeah. I'm just sitting back letting you guys chat because I
get in here, man. Mix it up, bro.
Well, since I've been invited, the first thing I'd say is I think Clover Tack's making some of the most based takes that I've heard in a long time. That's terrific.
I need to come back to Glenn's where Glenn left off with the women doing damage to men and all of that. But I got to come back to that. But I need to answer Arthur Dyer. And you guys encourage men to not date single moms. No, it's not that we do not. It's not that I personally don't encourage men to not date single moms. I do believe that it is suspect. And I feel like that you need to understand the reason for it. Right. If we're talking, if that woman has had like her husband has passed, or so there's some other, I hate to use the word valid. I need another.
Yes.
I need a more accurate valid. I need a more accurate term than valid, but we'll use valid. Valid will do it now. We'll do for now. There's nothing wrong. Andrew, for example, married a single mom, Arthur Dyer, and it was great. She had 2 or 3 kids. And Rachel Wilson's awesome. However, you as a man, you have to be very willing and open to do that. Correct?
It's more work for the marriage, for sure.
Especially before marriage. Now, I'm not saying that, and especially in the case of a widow. I mean, I personally think that there's nothing greater a young man can do
A widow is the best.
Than to step in and take care of a widow that's worth, that he cares for.
You know,
mean,
Clover Tack.
I
That's
wanna-
that's exactly my situation.
What is?
Okay.
You're describing my situation.
Okay.
So let me be consistent, and let me change that comment to. First of all, I've never encouraged or discouraged any of that shit.
Oh, I have, and
Period.
and I'll
That's
tell
great.
you.
That's great, and you can. But let me finish my thought right quick. It won't take long.
You always have your thoughts.
like a half hour. That's all I'm asking. So I'm going to change date to marry, and then I'm going to go back to my choosing shit and say that if you're, and this is Rachel and Andrew is a perfect fucking example of this. If you choose wisely, it doesn't fucking matter if it's a single mom or not.
Correct. Look, I've just got to. Sorry, I've got to respond to Cam the King in the chat. He says, you marry a single mother, you get all the responsibility and no authority. That's a load of horseshit.
Well, that's the general. That's an average. That's not all, but that's what he's speaking on. He's speaking on the average.
I just see it as a general red pill talking point. If you
because it's generally a true statement. It's a truism. There's a lot of truth in that statement.
Yeah, but I think that it's only true because feminists have made it the truth. I disagree with the idea
regardless of who made it the truth and why it's
right. But we need to change that. We need to change that. If a man marries if a man marries a woman and takes the place of that father, now if the father's still alive, okay, and the father's still in the picture and he's being a father and they're just divorced, and sure, that man, the new husband is not the father of those children. However, it is still his house. He still has authority. Now, on the other side of that, if it's a widower or that woman has been abandoned by, dude moved to fucking Portugal or some shit, then absolutely that man has stepped into the complete father role. And I would harshly disagree with the idea that he does not have the full authority of being the dad.
I know many of those cases, like you described there, Grid, where the guy has adopted the children.
Yeah.
Like literally name change, legal, the whole 9 yards.
My personal experience is the only father I've ever known was my stepdad. I didn't even call him my stepdad until I was 40 years old.
So,
that's my personal experience.
So I got some personal experience on this one as well. I was a stepdad. My ex-wife, when I met her, she had a 1.5-year-old whose dad wasn't in the picture. He was a pill popping rich white boy, who was not being a dad, wasn't, doing what he ought to do by his son, let alone his ex-wife. I did the right thing. I stepped up. But like in life, things changes. And he decided, now that I'm in the picture, he wants to be a dad. Great. I'll let you be dad. That's your job anyways. I shouldn't be doing your job. But the problem is when the father is in the picture and he and you are not on the same page and he doesn't want to work with you, he will do anything and everything he can to out of pettiness to drive a wedge between you and your wife and cause problems and use the kid as a tool. Like I had a thing about video games. I did not like any violent video games or age appropriate video games in the house. Sure. My stepson at the time was like 7 and 8, and he was sending him like Call of Duty and GTA, and I'm like, these are not age appropriate video games. Now I look like the asshole that's sending away his dad's presents, right? But his dad already knew from the beginning, if you're gonna send them video games, send them age appropriate video games that I don't have to worry about, graphic nature or whatever.
Mhm.
And they would use situations like that to cause a fight between, because the mom typically tends to feel guilty that the kid doesn't have both his mom and dad in the same house, and that moms typically feel guilty for their child, the child that's not in the marriage, right?
Yeah.
When they remarry. And so they tend to go less, they're not as strict or as there's way more grace or way more favoritism in that area, naturally,
I think
because of
that's
the
a
guilt.
really tough situation to be in,
It
Glenn.
is. It is.
And-
It is. And I've seen it. But then there's this thing where it's like you are now always at war with your husband if you do not, back him up. If he says, "Hey, we're not doing these video games," right? Okay. But then now why you have him playing these video games? Because his dad sent them. Now there's this fight. And that tends to happen.
Yeah.
Then it was over a cell phone, and stuff like that.
I mean,
I could tell you
this is the
plenty
stuff
of,
though that has to be between you and his mom,
and
the child's mom. Right?
absolutely. But then when the dad just sends it in gifts,
Yeah,
and
but
then
I would,
it causes a whole
again,
problem. Trust me, I've been through it, and it's
yeah,
a nightmare.
it's
It's
tough
something
deal,
that
man.
should be,
It's a tough deal.
it should
It
be
really
something
is.
that you guys are solid on from day one.
Yeah.
And she
Agreed.
follows your
And look,
leadership.
shit happens, man. I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
are going to be situations, but let me
No,
read
but
this
when
really
I say
quick.
when I say about just let me land the plane here. When I say like dating a single mom or marrying a single mom, I'm saying that unless you're saying that, there's no other options that you have available to you, and this is the best option that you see in front of you, or if you do have other options and you think that the single mom is the best option for you, great. But you have to ask yourself, why is she a single mom? Why is she divorced? Unless it is for sexual immorality or her husband is a non-believer and abandoned her, you are engaging in an adulterous relationship. And do you want your marriage to have that foundation on it? That is something that's been embedded in my head, ever since I got my divorce, because I'm like, man, maybe their divorce wasn't biblically sound. Maybe that was part of the problem that led to the divorce in the first place, and spiritually, I think that's something you have to ask yourself. Unless you know for certain why she's a divorcee or why she's a single mom, I wouldn't walk down that path. Now, if she's a widow, oh yeah, marry those widows. Those widows are amazing women. You're just going to be measured up to the dead guy all the time, but you'll get used to it.
No, that's not true, Glenn. That's kind of funny. But I have to speak on this one because that was my situation. But I'll tell you what happened. And I kind of sympathize a bit with Cam the King. I know I gave him a hard time, but I kind of sympathize with what he was saying. I reached a point because I was dating in my 40s after a divorce and went through a journey. I remember one time I'd been doing some online dating and I was trying to find a partner, in those days. Literally, I called my dad one time to have a chat. And I said to him, Dad, I think the only way I'm going to find a good woman is to find a good woman whose husband has recently died. Because like you were just saying, if a woman's 40 and has kids, etc., and she's single, well, the good ones get snapped up really quickly. Now, this isn't throwing shade at the single women out there. I'm just saying it's really difficult to find, the same as they might find it hard to find a good man. But I said the only way is to find a widow who, and I was kind of half joking. Well, that's exactly what happened. I couldn't believe it. Not a few months after that, I actually met a woman and we got to know each other a bit, and it looked like, and it turned out that her husband had passed away about a year and a half before. But to what you said about being compared to the ex-husband, I think you were kind of joking, and it wasn't
I'm
being.
kind of joking, but I'm not joking at the same time, because
I
if
do know
that
what you
guy
mean.
if he's the guy, he is like a straight up stud. You are going to be kind of judged by him. That's the standard. That guy,
Well, I guess
that's
I
the
guess
alpha that's not here anymore.
I guess it turned out I must have just been more studlier, which happens all the time, you know.
Well, you are kind of a stud. So.
No, but seriously, we have open conversations about her late husband. I helped her she was still in a little bit of, not disarray, but she was still, you know, there was still mourning going on. And some people with an individualistic point of view would say, well, she has to find herself first and heal after that fully before she finds a man. I think that's a load of rubbish too. Part of her healing was having me here with her. And she had a few of his, we cleaned out the shed, and she had a few of his, you know, sentimental things. And I helped her make a little corner of the house that we put a little homage to him. And over time, that's become less and less. And, you know, I helped her through that process to a certain degree. So
that's awesome.
I think
good man.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks. And then Siege D said in there at one point way back, I love Siege, but he said something about husbands have to still gain their wives. That might be a conversation for another time. If you find a submissive wife who will respect your authority, you don't need to gain shit.
Yeah.
So
I can only speak from my own experience on this. And by the way, welcome, John, to the show.
I understand what Siege is saying, and I can explain it later. But
sure.
I can only speak from my experience, and that is I never knew my actual father. I have a very dim, and I mean really dim, recollection of like a birthday party when I was 1 or 2 years old that he was at. And that's faded so much over time. It's like just more of an impression than anything. The only father I ever knew was my stepfather. We did not necessarily get along when we were growing up, but I never treated him as anything but my father. It wasn't until I was probably in my late 30s or 40s that I ever even called him my stepdad. He was just dad. And my mom has told me that my real dad's family has never reached out to her about me, that he has never reached out. They live in the same town. We've probably met, and it never was something that I cared about exploring at all because I had a father. He wasn't a good father. Okay. He was a very flawed man, and he was not a particularly good dad. He wasn't ready to be a dad. It wasn't until very late in life that he became anywhere close to a good dad, but he was the only dad I had. So I made, it is what it is. And so that's my personal experience. So I would never say that you shouldn't date single moms. I would just say you have to be exceedingly careful if you choose to do that and know what you're getting into, because there are a lot of real pitfalls there, right? We've all talked about it. Like everybody up here so far has said basically the same thing. Be fucking careful, because there are a lot of pitfalls.
I agree with that.
Naakis Michelle has sent us in, or not sent us in, but I saw this comment. They shouldn't allow the children to call the spouse dad. I'm assuming they're talking about the mother. Call the spouse dad when happy and by their name when angry. Consistency is imperative. I agree with that, and I've actually I've seen this happen before. And I think it's low tier garbage for women to do that. And I don't know that if I were in a relationship, I don't know how long a relationship would last if that were the case. If if I were dating a single mom and her kids were allowed to disrespect me in this such a way without her correcting them, that would be very. I think
Yeah, that
that'd
would
be
also that would show that the woman doesn't respect you either, which gives
correct.
permission to the kids to disrespect you. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would go
Um,
a step further and say that the conversation I had with my wife before we got married was that I expected that she would put our relationship above the one she had with her daughter.
I'd say she ought to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And it works wonders. If you want her children to comply with your authority, the mother has to see her relationship with you as the foundation of this new
Yes.
family.
Right,
Yeah.
because it would be an example to the kids that this is the
Correct.
foundation. Yeah, I agree. I did have a question, Grid One, going back just a couple minutes.
Sure.
Talking about the I guess the relationship between step parents and the children. This was an interesting quote I heard somewhere, and I don't even know if I'm going to get it right, but it was that men see in a stepson a younger version of themselves that they can coach into better decisions, whereas women see a competition of themselves, like it's just a younger person rather than someone to coach. Something, it was, I don't know, it was something like that. It
did
was
a good job saying that.
Well,
John. I taught you well.
Well, no, I don't know if I heard it from you. I heard it somewhere, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But it kind of brings into question the idea of if a man is marrying a single mother versus whether a woman is marrying a single father. What that relationship dynamic is, and whether or not even those kids are, if it's a son or a daughter in either relationship, it seems like it does bring about different aspects to behavior.
I could tell you, I had this conversation with my wife before we got married, because my wife didn't have kids, and I had 2 kids from my previous marriage, and my wife never had to have to share anybody. She was like the baby girl in the family, and so there's that kind of like favorite child syndrome.
Yeah. And were your kids boys or girls or both?
I had a daughter and a son.
Okay.
And so when she didn't like when we were dating, I'm like, no, I got things to do. I'm gonna go, take my son to the zoo that weekend. So I'm not going to be available. That instantly, scared her, as if like, wait a minute, is the child always going to come before me? Is he always going to, and it was something that she had to work on and realize. I'm like, hey, I love you. You are the woman that I want to marry, but you know what? My responsibility and my obligation to my son precedes our relationship. That's first. I have to make sure that I'm a dad first. But I'm not saying that relationship is above our marriage. I'm saying that you have to learn to incorporate him into the equation.
Okay, because I was going to say we all just agreed that the marriage comes first.
Yes,
but you,
for women, they look at it as competition.
Right.
Men, we tend to look at it, goes, oh, that could be a little mini me. That could be a little somebody I can mentor. I could be, like a big brother, or I could be an inspiration to that kid. Like I could steer that kid on the right path. We don't look at him as a threat. We look at it as someone to build up, and we kind of look at it as our responsibility to equip them so that they could be better men, regardless if they're our blood or not.
And on the flip side, so we hear a lot about father figures, right? And the way I
You never
kind of
hear anything
see
about mother figures.
exactly. I was going to say it feels like in a lot of situations, a lot of men are willing to walk into this role to be a father figure because we're so willing to just give of ourselves to the next generation and say, "Hey, don't f up like I did." Like,
Well,
do
because we know
do
how tough it is.
right. But then when it comes to the mother figure, from just from the things that I've seen or heard or like that quote, it just seems like mother figures aren't a thing. You're either a mother or you're not, it seems like.
Yeah.
And there is no mother who's willing to step into a role. She'll be a stepmom, but she won't be a mother figure. If
And
that makes
exactly. No,
yeah.
you
I don't even
exactly.
know if I'm
It's
right.
in
I'm just
it's
saying this
in
is what it
it's
seems like.
she's a stepmom in title only, but not a mother figure as a role or as a desired role at all.
Yeah. And I'm sure they exist.
No, there
It's
are
just
there
it's
are
not
some.
so common
It's
that
very
we
not.
hear about it.
It's kind of like they look at it as like that's not my responsibility, not my problem. As men,
Right.
we look at it as I'm in this relationship with this woman, therefore, what is her responsibility, I inherit as my responsibility.
Right.
Therefore, that this child is my responsibility, and I have a duty to
Yeah.
see.
I will
him
make him
please
better.
Let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest here. Because one of the things that's really valuable is to be absolutely intellectually honest when we start talking about these things. Men have the ability to treat anyone as family. Okay.
Yeah,
And
women
we see
can.
that
Women
we
can't
see
even
that
true.
all the time with coaches that literally they come to know young men or young women as if they were their own children. We see this with scout leaders that take money out of their own pockets to make sure that like a scout can do the things the other scouts can do.
Yeah. Even kids with a father still have other father
Yes,
figures.
even if they have a father, even if they have anything. And this is something, Arthur Daya, you've actually heard men complain that the woman was valuing the children over them in the relationship. Well, you haven't heard men say that. You've heard males say that, but you've never heard a man say that.
Oh, I will tell you that right now that women do that. They will do that, and it's
they should.
part of. They should in one sense.
I would be angry as hell if my wife valued me over my son.
No, but I think with the word that which she's meaning as in value is in what the husband says is not the final word. It's whatever is going to please the child. That's what she means by value.
I don't know. I think
that's what she means by it because
it's valuing the children over them in the relationship implies to me that she would leave the man to save the children.
And if
that's what any parent should do. But
if that's a dating relationship,
that's what I'm saying. She's heard.
I think what she's meaning saying. I think what she's implying here is women valuing pleasing their child or keeping their kid happy over falling with their husband's leadership.
What if it's just prioritizing them? So it's like you're not even married, but you're saying, I have a date with this guy, but my child has to go to a soccer game. I have to take him to the soccer game instead of going on this date. Like that's prioritizing the child over that man. I would say it's different when you're married, but if you're dating, yeah, the woman should prioritize that child. So I can see
even in marriage, yeah, the kids, you have an obligation to. Yeah, you have an obligation to make sure that your seed, your children, grow up to be good, functional adults. We should be a third or fourth down the.
You are not a man if you put yourself ahead of your wife and your child.
This is the only time where I would say the servant leader model actually does apply.
Okay. Hold on though. I guess I got two ways.
Volume is turned up all the way up. Let me. I'm going to adjust that. There we go.
I can adjust it on my end if you need me to.
I got it.
Okay. So I was going to say I got two ways.
Did you read Arthur Daya's comment? The context was talking about spending time with the kids rather than dates. See, that is a problem. That is a problem.
Rather than dates?
Like going like one-on-one with their husband.
Oh
instead of
yeah, that
doing-
would be. Yeah, I mean, you need one-on-one time. But I'll get back to that and just let me read this from Angel Berber. Angel Berber sends in $5. Thank you for that. I was raised by my father, God bless him, and I still had other male mentors and father figures in my life, from my grandfathers to other elders.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just men in general. I think that that's I consider that a very, very normal thing.
I agree.
I think that we're context or spending time with dates with kids rather than dates. So again, I think I still actually need more context, but I would say that, like, my wife this morning, we got up this morning. My wife wanted to take my son to, well, she did take them to somewhere. I forget where it was. It was to play tennis or I don't know what it was. It was an activity. She took both my sons and her mom. That was very appropriate for her to do, and I have no problem with that. She and now I have rather her sat down and watched a movie with me and just hung out with me for that couple of hours. Sure, I would have enjoyed that. But it's more important to me that she spends time with the kids and the kids get out and go do things. I have other things to do. That's, I just find that I do not understand how a man can, I don't understand how a grown ass man would feel slighted by his wife, mother of his children, prioritizing the children over him. The only way I could see that is if it got to the point where she was literally ignoring the man, her husband, to the detriment of the relationship. And at that point, then he's still not a man, right? Because you can't let it get that far.
Yeah, I've had friends who dated single moms who specifically told their kids, like, "Hey, you respect him because I respect him," and they led by example, which was really good, and the relationship was pretty good. Unfortunately, didn't end well, but for the duration of the relationship was actually it seemed like it was healthy and a really good way to go about it. So as a single mom, she was telling her kids, you don't have to call him stepdad, but you do respect him. He tells you something, and she gave him permission to discipline them, ground them, whatever. So that's the thing. And also, on the other hand, previously from Glenn saying about the servant leadership thing again, I don't know if we have the same definition, but I do think that leading by service is a thing. Like I said, I don't know if we have the same definition, but I believe leading in itself is a service. And the Bible commands, anyone who seeks to lead, let them serve the lowliest. So I don't know how you consolidate that into that belief. I'm not talking about being an actual servant and catering to every whim. That's not what I'm talking about. But leadership itself is a service. That doesn't make you less.
Yeah, we would look at it the same, but when I talk about the servant leader model as it's popularly known as, it is basically you're a bitch to your wife and she runs the show. Happy wife, happy life.
Okay, I agree with you then. I agree with you. We're on the same page.
Yeah. No, but okay. I believe that you are to serve those that you're leading, and you're going to put their needs above yours. Like any good man or leader does. It's like, going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm tired, but I need to help the kids with their homework. They need to get this project done. We need to build this thing, and they can't do it on their own. So I'm going to help them do it. Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you are serving your kids at that moment. You are, not doing what you want to do, but you are giving that time that you could be recuperating in service of your children or your
Right,
stepchildren.
exactly. Yeah. So,
There's
okay,
nothing-
so we're on
that-
the same
that's-
page.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing with your wife. You just work 12 hours a day, but you know what? She's been, working too, or she's been dealing with the kids, and maybe one of them is sick, and it's been stressful on her. You do the dishes for her when you get home. You don't make a fuss about it. You just go in there and you do it. You're serving your wife, knowing that she's doing her thing and been having a day just like you are having a day. And as the man, you're leading, and by saying, hey, I'm going to pick up the slack when I see the need to. And that's serving your wife, right? I'm not saying like, oh, your wife has to be happy, you have to keep her happy, because that's not your responsibility. That's
Right.
her
Well,
responsibility.
that's a whole other discussion about how
Yeah.
happy do you need to be in your relationship.
Well,
That's a
and
whole other.
her happiness is her problem because it's her responsibility.
Yeah, right. That's a whole other discussion. That's outside the scope here, but it's been a really good discussion. Before Glenn jumps, before we jump off, we're coming up on the time where I turn into a pumpkin. But just really quick, guys. Again, if you didn't hear it, we're going to have the world's greatest podcast conference here in Nashville in October. We're aiming for, I think, the weekend of the 12th. It's going to, the final date will be down to flights, talent availability, and of course the studio actually being empty and available. We now have 2 studios to choose from that both Glenn and I agree are excellent in every aspect. And will fulfill the need and goal of having not only the headliners, the talent on stage where they can have a great performance, but also have plenty of room for a gallery, a studio audience, however you want to say that. And obviously the tickets, as I mentioned earlier, will be available. Still going to have to work out how much everything is going to cost. I don't think it's going to be a massive cost, but it's going to be really cool. We're going to have a really, really good lineup. I think I'm pretty sure I know the top. I think the top 4 are pretty well set. The 5th one, we'll see how that works out. But and then I think we're going to end up with what do we say, Glenn? Maybe 9. 9.
Yeah, we have about
talent.
9
on airs.
Yeah, and,
plus me and Glenn, of course.
We have 6 main and then 3 alternatives.
And I had an idea.
So weird. I haven't received my invite yet. I'm just so confused.
No invite?
Yeah.
Man.
You know what?
Let me tell you, there will be no invite.
Send it out with your birthday present.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking I would ride up there on my metric motorcycle because it could actually make that road trip unlike a Harley. So
wow.
I could
fun.
ride on my I could ride on my Harley there too if I wanted to.
All the shot.
But
Them's fighting words.
There won't
I'm
be
disappointed.
any. So here's the thing, guys. The lineup, the most of the lineup may not be actually announced until everything is locked down. Like
the lineup, don't expect to hear the full lineup until
don't expect to hear anything about anybody that's going to be there until it is locked down. Because I hate it when people say, "Oh yeah, so and so is going to be there," and then a week later, like they're not going to be here. I don't want to do that. I hate that. I don't want anyone to hate me. That's that's the end of it. Now you will be able to, if you can make it to Nashville. The way that I have this laid out right now, I have a tentative schedule laid out. I haven't sent it to Glenn yet, but I have a tentative thing laid out where as the talent arrives, hopefully on Friday, some of them may be able to come in on Thursday. We'll see.
I have to come in on Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah. So as the talent comes in on Thursday or Friday, Friday night will be, we're just going to let everybody roam Nashville, downtown or wherever. It is the bachelorette party capital of the world. And so lots of drunk females downtown to make fun of, if that's your thing. Otherwise, just there's lots to do, lots of stuff to do in Nashville, and we're going to be not too far from downtown. Saturday, I'm planning a morning show, a mid-afternoon show, and an evening show. Those in between there will be food available. I actually have some catering people that may work out, and I'm actually going to try really hard to get a scout troop to come out and sell barbecue or something.
Oh,
so you
sweet.
so that your money goes to benefit somebody that deserves it. And then Sunday, I'm planning on taking a select number of people. We may go shooting. We may rent some pontoon boats and go out on the lake. There's a lot of different things to do. And then, of course, Sunday night, I believe everyone will fly out, with the possible exception of, again, I mentioned it last night, if we can pry Brian out of California, I would love to do whatever in Nashville. And I would do everything. I would find the girls. I might be able to get the Hawktua girl to come on and do whatever with Brian. All of these things. I'm not 100% sure yet. If we can pry him out, I'd love to make that happen. And I would actually rent the studio for that, just for that show. Like, we wouldn't.
Very ambitious. I think that would be awesome.
I just don't think it'll happen. but I don't think it'll happen. I know Glenn's not saying anything because he doesn't think it'll happen either. But
Yeah.
I mean, whatever,
Will you bring any of your Porsches out there?
No, I don't have. I only have the Cayenne left, and I have the race car that's in pieces. So I only have the one Porsche.
Ah, okay. Well, now I'm not coming.
Technically two Porsches. But no, I will not. I will probably be driving the F-Pace that weekend, or my truck, because I have to carry a bunch of crap. But
yeah.
Either way,
would be awesome to come out and actually meet everyone. Even Kieran,
it would be,
if he can come by from
the hotel
Australia.
rooms are relatively inexpensive that time of year. It's not particularly, it's not a holiday season, so it's a we're getting a good deal on hotel rooms. We're going to get good, and we're going to get everything kind of going. And the other thing is that if we have enough people, once we announce how much the tickets are, then we will the people who buy tickets, I'll see if I can't reserve a block of hotel rooms for them as well. I've done that before.
Yeah, that'd
the
be great.
F-Pace is awesome, BSR. You just don't know. Way better than an X5. Way better. So much better. So.
If you can get this going and get some dates down, I would love to figure out how to get up there on my metric motorcycle, just so that Glenn would have to acknowledge it survived Texas. That's all I want.
I think Glenn has at least 2, maybe 3 of the top guys lined out. But
2 of the 3 top guys?
Yeah.
I haven't received an invite yet. What's going on?
Again,
somebody in the chat said that your invite went out addressed to John Smith, so it's going to be a lottery, brother.
It's somewhere out there. I knew
it's like
it.
a lottery ticket.
It's on the way to John Smith.
It's a lottery ticket.
All right, anyone finds that John Smith invite, please tell me.
That's fine. Yeah, so you guys have a look. There's nobody to raid. I was looking for someone to raid, and nobody's online right now. I don't know what it is with Saturday nights, but we always end up in the same place where Friday night I have too many people to raid, and I always end up pissing somebody off. Tonight there's nobody to raid, and we're just going to end up letting everybody go on about your business. So it is what it is.
Good one. Can I tell you a dad joke real quick, just so we can
Yeah,
end on
absolutely. Tell me
an
a dad
absolutely
joke.
depressing note?
Sure.
Okay.
Blistering failure coming in.
All right. So, do you know the difference in the finances of a Vietnamese restaurant versus an Indian restaurant?
No. There you go.
Well, the Vietnamese restaurant is for profit, and the Indian restaurant is non-profit.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Yeah.
Graceland's in Memphis, Intel Wild. That's that's 2.5 hours, 3 hours away, somewhere along like that. But you can go there. Yeah, it's fine.
Do you get it though? Non-profit, like the bread?
non-bread. Yeah.
Okay,
My kid loves non.
I just thought I would have to explain it. Okay.
No, we got it, John. John, we got it. We got it. It just wasn't funny.
Yeah, it was just like it was. That they say it went over like a lead balloon.
But was it painful?
This was more like antimony. Like it wasn't even real lead. It was.
I was hoping for a groan at least. Like that's what's supposed to happen. I didn't even get a groan. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. I have disappointed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that joke went down so hard it left an impact crater.
It went down so hard that it lost. It was lost on radar and will never be seen again.
Hey, thanks, everyone, for having us on. I really appreciate it. It was a great chat.
I really apparently hurt BSR's feelings about the X5, but I actually used to have a bunch the BMW X5. I used to have a bunch of customers in the service shop that had X5s, and they were the best customers because those things break so much.
Don't stress, Grid. It's always a good day when you hurt BSR's feelings.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, that's kind of my goal daily.
The thing about the nice thing about the F-Pace is Jaguar got so tired of the transmissions failing that they were getting from I guess they were buying them from whoever supplies GM with their transmissions. And Jaguar got tired of it, so they started building them themselves, and they're actually really good. They hold up. So I've had zero problems out of my F-Pace, except it had to go in the body shop for a few weeks. I just got it back yesterday. I had a piece of what looked like particle board, OSB, whatever you call it, depending on where you're at in the world. But the particle board literally basically like a 2x2 chunk of 3/4 inch particle board was out on the highway and got sucked up by the car in front of me and tossed back like a frisbee and hit the front of the F-Pace and broke the front bumper and knocked all that shit loose, like everything. So it's very cool. Jags are very good. The F-Pace suspension's pretty straightforward. I never had any problem with any of the Jag suspension on anything I've worked on.
I'm back in case you missed me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. That means Glenn missed my joke. I have to tell it again.
No, you do
not. No,
not.
you fucking don't. No, you don't.
He can watch it on the replay. Watch it on the replay.
Well,
don't worry about it.
Trust me,
If that's the reaction you're getting, it probably wasn't a joke.
No, just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. You
It
really
was
love it.
Almost a joke. It was so close to a joke, but it wasn't actually.
No, Glenn, just trust me. You would love it.
No,
Man.
just kick the fucker off quick.
No, Glenn, trust me, bro. You'd love it.
I was kind of stretch it to see if Josie was going to go live. I was going to raid Josie for a change because she's been all in her feels for the last 6 months about it, but she hasn't powered up and told me that.
You know what? Like we actually had a good time yesterday.
No,
that hour that we were out there in Huntington, it was a good time.
Yeah,
I need to watch that still. I need to watch it.
Yeah,
actually, I took it.
This is how I know Glenn's a good storyteller.
Then, I edited it. A lot of like some of the music when we walked by the music. Because as soon as I put it up there, when you hear the music from the clubs, they immediately demonetized it. So I edited it, a lot of it out. So it's a shorter.
I don't
condensed
see you,
version of
Josie.
it. It's getting uploaded. It actually, I think it gets released at midnight. It'll be live midnight. Yeah. So you guys will be able to watch it in 2 hours.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't see Josie live right now.
Josie's live right now. I just got a notification.
So the where was the somebody was talking about the F-Pace. The F-Pace feels really light. So I drove the Mercedes. I drove a bunch of different Mercedes SUVs, and I drove the new 911 or the new Cayenne, and I liked it. I drove the Macan. I didn't really like that much, but the F-Pace felt the lightest. It just feels good. It just drives well. It did not feel like a big heavy ass SUV, which is what I like. Which is one of the reasons why I like the Cayenne. The Cayenne is like badass.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I went from my Jalopy to a Volkswagen Beetle, and my goodness, the difference. I know exactly what you're talking about. The difference is there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same. It's kind of, in some world other than this. Anyway. Yeah, it's I had a choice. I mean, I spent a long time actually looking for a new SUV for the wife and me, because I have to drive it too, and I do almost all the driving. So honestly, it doesn't matter what she wants; it's just all about what I like. So, and that's the way it is. Viking Paradigm, you came in as we're leaving, bro. That's okay though, man. Good to see you out there, buddy. Good to see you. I hope you were here for a while and got to see some of the weird stuff that we're doing. So, yeah. But yeah. All right. Okay, guys. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna go to bed. You guys have a great time. Viking Paradigm, good to see you. Cam the King, good to see you. I didn't get to say hello to you earlier. Effing epic. Glad you showed up. John Smith, looks like you might be banned. We'll sort that out later.
Good night. Sleep tight. Have some sweet,
Casper,
amazing, beautiful
Be
dreams.
less angry. To the panel, to my fellow panelists, you got to go. Go away. Leave me alone.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. So yeah,
Glenn, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
We'll see you then.
Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Good night.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you too, Greg. See ya.
Go
See you,
enjoy Josie's stream. Hopefully she won't bore you to death. I hope she does a great stream tonight, and everything is great. Now you're just gonna have to get off my lawn, go away. Don't go away mad. Just go away. Guys, have a good night. Enjoy yourselves.